Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. In this video we will talk about effects of Mars in the 7th house for an Aquarius Ascendant. So when the sign of Ascendant is Aquarius, 5th house falls into the 7th house falls into the Leo sign. Now the very first thing when somebody talks about Mars in the 7th house is that it rings alarm bells. In regards to a person's marriage, people really get worried thinking about how this placement will affect their relationship and married life. And in Vedic astrology, this placement of Mars is also called as Manglik position, which generally doesn't refer well when it comes to the relationship things. However, let me clarify at the very onset that this is not an ominous position. You can still have a very successful married life even though you have Mars here. It is, as I said, really it's not a guarantee of ominous sign for marriage. There are certain aspects of marriage which this placement does show. We will look at the specifics of it, like how and what kind of partner you will get, what is the best way to handle them, and how to keep them happy. We will see all of it. Apart from marriage, we will also see how this Mars affects your work life, because this Mars is the owner of your all important 10th house of work. And not only that, the Mars from the 7th has a direct aspect on the ascendant itself. So it basically, in one way or the other, defines your whole life. And since Mars is an enemy of Saturn, and Saturn is the Lord of Ascendant for Aquarius, we will see how this contradicting features or enemy planets should be considered and correct predictions should be made based on this placement. So let's start by dealing with the elephant in the room, the 7th house of marriage. So if you look or read any of the classical Vedic text, or for that matter any of the even new texts, 7th house Mars for Aquarius Lagna might give you indication that this is not a great sign for marriage. In fact, many texts would say that the marriage could be short-lived because of this. But in reality, in practical analysis of charts, this has not been found. On the contrary, it has been found that people with this placement are just as likely as anybody else for a long-lasting marriage, because that's the first worry of most people when they see the Mars here in a fiery sign. So and there are some reasons why this happens, and we will look at the astrological reasons. But what you can definitely expect in the marriage is that the partner, the marriage partner, the spouse or your wife would be really feisty. She would be a feisty, passionate character who would want you to keep things very interesting in the married life. So your marriage life will be full of great sensuality. The senses, the sense gratification, or the sexual part of the marriage would be very prominent, and that's not a bad thing really. So if you have this combination, I don't think you need to really worry about the longevity of your married life. You're as likely to have a long and successful married life as any other placement horoscope in this world. The only thing we talked about, just keep the things interesting. Now, one more thing about the nature of the spouse is that generally Mars here, in a fiery sign in the 7th house, with Mars being another fiery planet, the spouse usually is someone who's temperamental, from the temperament wise, more aggressive, more aggressive than the native himself, because native is lorded by Saturn, and Saturn is a cool, calm, steady, a planet with a lot of patience, whereas the spouse will lack patience. There will be a big, they will be a little bit uptight. They would want everything now. They would want to go out every day. They would want to do, a lot of things outdoors. Whereas being Saturn in sign, people with this ascendant are someone who probably has, a lot of patience. They can wait for things. So that temperamental difference has to be looked after. That is the only thing which, kind of causes some friction between the couples. However, people with this ascendant, they generally tend to have the higher qualities of Saturn, which includes higher wisdom. So remember, it is you who will have to make adjustments. It is you who will have to, make your spouse understand and, be a little bit be the wiser one in the relationship always, because Saturn is an old planet. Mars is a lot younger, full of enthusiasm, less on patience. So just keep this in mind. Now, 7th house also shows your business partners, and this placement of Mars has a lot to do with your work life as well, because Mars is the lord of the sign Scorpio, which falls in the 10th house, and Mars also has an aspect on this house. Mars looks at the 4th house from its position. So work life of the native is very much impacted by this placement. And what happens is, Mars, the placement of Mars here generally endows you with very good business partners, and business partnership also lasts very long, unlike the normal understanding that Mars will break business partnership. It has not been observed that way. In fact, partnership business have seen to be proved really beneficial, and partnerships, especially in things like sporting goods, sports materials, selling sport items, or even sporting training academies. I've seen people who run sport training academies with 3-4 partners having this combination. Many times your business partners could also be your siblings, because Mars is also the lord of 3rd house, which contains the sign of Aries. Aries in the 3rd house, with Mars being the lord of this, shows younger brothers. Especially younger brothers could become very good business partners. And remember, because Mars is the natural karaka of siblings as well. So there are multiple factors which are related to siblings, and especially younger brothers. And many people who have good family business, family run business, which are run by 3-4 brothers and some elders in the family, they also have this kind of placement often in their horoscope. And it is a very good placement when it comes to the work life, and people are quite aggressive in their work life because of this aspect of Mars on its own sign. Generally, the people with Aquarius Ascendant shows a lot of patience, but when it comes to work life, they are relentless. With this position, it really makes them a go-getter. They would do, they would sign the deal they are really after. They in many times, even the work related to lands and apartments or office buildings, or contractors, fixing office buildings. I've seen recently in horoscope a guy with this running a business of, who has contract to fix electrical appliances in the whole city. So those kind of businesses are also very fruitful, and this combination, Mars in the 7th house in Leo, actually proves to be, it clearly proves to make you good businessmen. Now, one important aspect related to the health of the individual. Mars is the natural significator of blood. And when Mars is in a fiery sign like Leo, directly aspecting the Lagna or ascendant, which shows your body. Lagna basically represents something which has come to birth. The body which has come to birth, it could be anything. In this case, it could be the horoscope of the person. So Mars here tend to give some kind of element related to blood, especially high blood pressure. High BP and related elements are very common with this kind of Mars. So if you are someone who has this Mars and moon is also afflicted, so you might get angry very easily, resulting in blood pressure related issues. So please be careful about this. So other than this couple of issues we talked about, this position actually makes a person very successful in real life, in physical life, and they end up accumulate a lot of wealth and good name for themselves and their family. So my dear friends, I hope you liked this quick analysis of Mars in the 7th house in the sign of Leo for Aquarius Ascendant. Please do hit the like and subscribe button for keep getting more such interesting videos. Do put in your comments to if you have any questions or want to see some videos before I make others. And until we meet next time, have a blessed life. See you soon. Ta-ta.